But like check this out, right? So we have like 3 trailers, if you want to count the delayed trailer as a trailer, 4, whatever. We're 3-4 trailers in to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and the game is coming out in May, which is like a couple of months from now, not even a full year, and I'm really, really excited. I mean, of course, like Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel, why wouldn't you be excited? But I feel that Nintendo and the Zelda team is like keeping something away from us, like in a big, dire fact, and that is combat. Like, other than what we saw with the flamethrower shield, which was already wild, Breath of the Wild, we haven't really seen any type of like actual combat when it comes to Link using his sword, shield bashing, or any of the sword, not even bomb runes or anything like that, because I mean, like, it's looking like the arm is replacing the Sheikah Slate, and we have this new reverse stasis, time reversal, what have you, right? And that's not even going without saying about the arm, if the arm is going to be like, combat support or combative readiness or anything like that. And as much as I love Breath of the Wild, which is another conversation that I really want to have, like, really quickly, whatnot, there are some things about the game that aren't up to par. I believe that Breath of the Wild is like such a breath of fresh air for the Legend of Zelda series, and that Ocarina of Time was #1 for me, and then Breath of the Wild came along, and then it became #1. But then as time goes, I'm like, okay, listen, my former love of Ocarina of Time is getting up there, and Breath of the Wild and Ocarina of Time is like, fighting for the seat of the chosen one in my head for #1 Zelda title and whatnot. And I feel like as years go on, when it comes to going into Tears of the Kingdom, which will be more than 6 years after the release of Breath of the Wild, there's more and more like glaring points, or I should say these points within the original Breath of the Wild become more glaring and more apparent on what they can be improved in Tears of the Kingdom, which is a whole other video that we're going to be tackling on soon. But for this video, I just really want to tackle combat, because guys, think about it. Like, we have not seen combat at all. Like, the flamethrower thing, fine, but we haven't seen combat. We haven't seen Link swing a weapon, swing a sword, or anything like that. We know the Master Sword gets busted, and then we have like this, hatchet-looking weapon in the latest trailer or whatnot. So I'm like, what can Nintendo be sitting on in terms of how combat looks in this sequel to the latest and greatest Zelda game and whatnot? And I feel like a lot of people are getting a little too antsy in terms of, thinking that they might not do any type of radical changes because this is a sequel. Why would they do something, radically different? And then that goes into another huge conversation about the Legend of Zelda in terms of 3D games, how they constantly reuse and recycle animations and assets and even engines from the previous Zelda 3D game, which is nothing wrong with that. It expedites development and allows them to think of new ideas to incorporate in those former assets in terms of game development. Like Ocarina of Time goes into Majora's Mask. We don't even have to talk about that. It's like right there, same engine, same assets, blah, 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 right? But then we go into Wind Waker, which is built off a heavily modified Ocarina of Time engine. And it changes up things, but for the most part, it's like the same type of style of game, which is, apparent when it comes to like a game in a series in terms of a type of game it is and whatnot. But Wind Waker changed up a lot of things. And then we go to Twilight Princess, which was built off a heavily modified Wind Waker engine, and then you can see Link's movements, even from cel-shaded big-headed Link. He still has a lot of the movements that we see in Wind Waker when you control adult Link in Twilight Princess, although adapted. But when it comes to like combat prowess, you see a lot of things like the helm splitter and the back slice and the finishing blow. They are taken from animations that you see in Wind Waker, especially when it comes to the parry moves, right? And then we go into Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword built off, heavily modified Twilight Princess engine, used a lot of assets, which is like apparently glaring, but then changed up the art style, yada, yada, yada. Breath of the Wild is like the first time in a very, very, very long time where like I feel Nintendo built from the ground up a new engine for one of their games, especially a Zelda game, in terms of like the physics engine, experimentation all the way to the maximum, burning things, freezing things, ragdolling, all that good jazz. It's really, really cool. But then when we go to Link swinging his regular sword, like the Master Sword or whatever, he does some like really nice, bland sword swipes, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. But then when you actually look back into Skyward Sword, the horizontal strikes that you do with Link Skyward Sword when you move the Joy-Con or the nunchuck or whatever, not in the nunchuck, the Wiimote, that they lifted that animation to Breath of the Wild Link, right? And I'm like, okay, I get it. All right, to save time or whatnot. But I mean, I feel that in Tears of the Kingdom, we can get more pizzazz in terms of like Link's combat animations. If we're not even gonna get more, like I would say, wilder combat options. Which, by the way, I had a dream about. And I'm thinking about, like, should I make it a video? Let me know in the comment section below if you want me to make it a video or whatnot. Is that I had a dream that Link in Tears of the Kingdom was able to have Devil May Cry like combo strings and stoppers, right? And then, like, before you guys get it twisted, like, oh, you just want Tears of the Kingdom to turn into Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Final Fantasy 16, Kingdom Hearts. No, I don't want all that, because I mean, like, I play Zelda for Zelda, I play Kingdom Hearts for Kingdom Hearts, so on and so forth, right? But it would be cool, I'm not gonna lie, for, you know, Link's combat, you know, prowess to be expanded from Breath of the Wild into Tears of the Kingdom. And there's a couple of reasons why. You know, like, we can literally lift what they did in Twilight Princess and like expand upon it, you know, when it comes to the hidden skills and whatnot. That was like beautiful. I'm like, okay, yeah, Link. All right, now he's having more, you know, abilities and whatnot in terms of like swinging the sword and all that good jazz, because I'm like, okay, turn Link into a monster. Right, so they can build upon that, even give him like a small skill tree, nothing too big, nothing too pizzazzy or whatnot, and even like a skill tree that's like, you know, dedicated to each type of weapon type. You know, dedicated for one-handed swords, dedicated to two big-handed weapons, dedicated to boomerangs or whatever and whatnot. And you would think like, oh, Age of Calamity, like, no, I don't want Zelda's combos to like get that wild in a Zelda game or whatever. But I would like to see more, I would say, intricacies and nuance to Link's combo game that can really, you know, have him evolve from a character that is just like, okay, mash B to defeat enemy. Oh, but you gotta find out the kink. I'm like, okay, you find the kink in the enemy's armor, you hit the eye with the arrow, and then they're down. And when they're down, then you just sword strike them. I'm like, hey, I would like to, like, you know, actually, like, you know, bust their head in with a new move or anything like that. And I got a lot of that from Twilight Princess and even the Wind Waker, you know, so I would like to see that back in a more expanded suit. And then that could be explained easily in terms of story, because Link got all of his memories back, or most of his memories back, like however you want to infer that, from the end of Breath of the Wild, if you got the true ending and whatnot. So like Link, who is known to be like the best swordsman in all of the land, yeah, #1, the royal guard to Zelda herself. Okay, like, you know, he was already inclined naturally to swordplay from Breath of the Wild when he lost his memories, which is like, okay, like, you know, courage need not be remembered, for it is never forgotten, whatever. So now that Link has all his memories back, now I want him to go like, okay, go in, right? I'm not saying as in as he did in Age of Calamity, but go in, right? So have, like, you know, combo strings and modifiers that, you know, get lifted from, I would say, Devil May Cry. I'm not talking about some like wild Dante must die, you know, infinite combo strings or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, okay, it would be really cool if Link had a string like B, pause, B, then B, or B, forward B, pause B, or B, pause, B, you know, give him $1 million, 1,000 stabs, whatever, you know. And like, HMK, you want to get more combat actions in Tears of the Kingdom? Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I? 100%. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, come on. Like, people getting wild in new ways and new avenues like they did in the original Breath of the Wild. And even if we don't have all those weird combo modifiers or anything like that, or strings or stuff, like, I feel that Nintendo could, like, just build upon Link's animations of how he swings the sword when he's in Flurry Rush in Breath of the Wild 1. Breath of the Wild, the original Breath of the Wild, right? Take that combo animation that he does in Flurry Rush and then build upon that and then make that his regular combo string in Tears of the Kingdom. Because, I mean, like, as much as I love Zelda, as much as I love Link, and, like, you know, this man's using the sword, he has, like, the sword that seals the darkness, the legendary Bane of Evil's Bane, Blade of Evil's Bane, you know, the Master Sword. Put some respect on it. Like, I want him to see him, like, you know, horizontal is, like, whatever. You can literally just go back to how the combo strings functioned in Wind Waker, and because I honestly like how fluid the combo strings were in Wind Waker. If you were to compare them to Twilight Princess, I prefer Wind Waker's. Go to that, and now I'm like, yeah, pizzazz, because I miss those. I miss being able to put in an input and move the direction of my sword in a Zelda game. You know, literally Breath of the Wild is the first game that, you know, takes that away, because of the Skyward Sword is like, go any direction, right? Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. You push the direction of the sword, he does a different type of combo. Oh, but it's the same value and everything. Whatever, you know. I want that. Why can't I have that? Is that too much to ask? I don't think it is, you know. And the fact that the Zelda team and the Nintendo team have not shown off any type of combat, prowess, whatever, I feel like it's, you know, pretty... I think it's a good idea to, like, you know, ask for that and to hope for that and to speculate for that. And, you know, this may all be trivial. It really might be, you know, especially if your first game is Breath of the Wild. But, you know, that's something I want, and I feel like a lot of Zelda fans are going to agree with me. But I want to know what you guys think on the possibility of Nintendo hiding something. Like, imagine, like, Nintendo just comes out with the next Tears of the Kingdom trailer at the Game Awards or some shit, right? And then Link actually fights an enemy or a boss or anything like that. And then, like, he just does some wild, like, combos or whatnot. And then he summons the giant green ant, and then it becomes, like, part Susanoo or Devil Bringer, whatever. And then, like, that arm produces a giant Master Sword equivalent, so that when Link swings, it swings with him and whatnot. And then that could be the green thing that you see in the logo or whatnot. That'll be so cool, right? That'll be busted. And then Link, like, the more he goes on in the game, the more stronger he gets, and, like, the bigger enemies and whatnot. I mean, come on. I think that'd be cool. Make big enemies, make big bosses, and then I could, you know, really smoke them with that. Tears of the Kingdom, everybody. The sequel to the Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was very experimental. Dungeons, music, combat. Come on. Let me know what you guys think about this rant. This is not even a rant. Like, this is just me, like, just like gushing. Right? Let me know what you think about this gush in the comment section below. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more Zelda content every week. And be sure to check out my Patreon to support your boy. Or at least, not even at least, but if you can, just like $1 a month or whatever, $5, $2, $50. It really helps out, you know, to, like, continue doing this stuff. And then be sure to pick up some merch over my shop at Fourth Wall. All right, guys, so until the next video, this has been your boy HMK, and I'll check you guys later.